Said this morning that you'll legislate to give police new powers to ban repeated demonstration. Would that have stopped the pro-Palestinian demonstrations that came repeatedly in London earlier this year, and would it have prevented yesterday's demonstration?
Well, look, the strengthening of the legislation that I'm going to bring about is based on the ability of the police to place conditions and restrictions on protests. And what I will be making explicit is that cumulative disruption, that is to say the frequency of particular protests in particular places, is in and of itself a reason for the police to be able to restrict and place conditions. That is to say they can move them to a different place, they can restrict the time that those protests can occur on. So that will unlock all of the broader measures that the police can already do on protests. It's been clear to me in conversations in the last couple of days that there is a gap in the law and there is an inconsistency of practice. So I'll be taking measures immediately to put that right, and I will be reviewing our wider protest legislation as well to make sure the arrangements we have can meet the scale of the challenge that we face, which is protecting the right to protest, but ensuring that our communities can go about their daily business without feeling intimidated, and also that public order can be maintained.
Home Secretary, is part of the problem that we're seeing now a consequence of your government's decision to prescribe Palestine Action? We now have the spectre of the Metropolitan Police having to be deployed in huge numbers to cart people away from Parliament Square or streets of Westminster. They can't be doing that and at the same time be protecting mosques unless they've got more people. But actually, the Met now says it's going to lose 1,700 people. Are you asking Rachel Reeves for more money to square this circle?
Well, there's a number of issues there, Trevor. Let me just deal with the first. I have no truck with this argument that suggests that merely holding up a placard somewhere in central London somehow shouldn't have a police response. If you're supporting a proscribed organisation, you are breaking the law of our land. That organisation has been proscribed. It is an offence to show support for that organisation. People might not like that decision. They might have questions about the way that the anti-terror laws work in this country, but there is no excuse for holding up placards supporting a banned organisation. That will always be met with a police response. And on the wider point, I am of course in contact with the police on a regular basis, as you would expect me to be, about how we manage the resourcing of all of the different challenges that the police face. There are a number of groups that are taking part in different protests. There's those on Palestine Action, the wider pro-Palestine movement. We've seen some parts of the far right on the march as well as other groups too. So it is a big policing challenge. I am assured by the police for now that we are able to meet the scale of that challenge, but of course it's my job to make sure that the police are always in a position to respond to the challenges they face, and I will obviously do so.
To be clear, Sir Mark Rowley has said in the last 2 or 3 days that he cannot both do what they had to do yesterday and do what he would like to do in protecting Jewish communities. He's been pretty clear about that. He's also been clear previously that he's going to lose officers. The number that's been mentioned is 1,700. How can you square that circle?
Well, look, I've been talking not just to Mark, but other police leaders as well, all across the country. I've been assured that they are able to manage the challenges that they currently face. But of course, this is going to be an intense discussion over the coming weeks and months. It is my job as Home Secretary to make sure they have the resources they need to police the various challenges that are presenting themselves. And I acknowledge that there is a huge uptick in the demands for the police. We have a whole range of protests. We've had a number of near misses around migrant hotels. A mosque was set on fire last night. We've had an anti-Semitic terrorist attack on UK soil as well. I think we should all acknowledge the complexity of the picture that the police are dealing with. I will, of course, respond, and if there are questions on funding, I'm sure we will deal with them in the weeks and months to come.
But you're cutting police numbers in the face of all of that. That must be a mistake.
Well, no. Since we've been in office, we've had a particular focus on neighbourhood policing because we know that crime on high streets is preventing people from being able to go about their daily business, and we know that neighbourhood policing is a key part of ensuring that our citizens can use their own high streets, can go to the shops without fear, and that is a priority for us as a government. Of course, there are competing challenges here, and as I said, I will work very closely with the police in order to deal with those.
Home Secretary Shabana Mahmood, thank you so much for your time this morning.
Thank you.
The